And this is one of the cool ones. A lot of them, you gotta boil your own water. Not a problem. For this, you just add any water. I've used snow in the past. I have this theory that the amount of effort it takes to get something you enjoy is directly proportionate to how good it is for you to get the thing that you enjoy. So, for example, I'm filming this on an iPhone, but I don't have an iPhone. I have a flip phone because if you get an iPhone, man, you have everything. You have the greatest tool mankind has ever built in your pocket. We're using it for cat videos. I'm not here to wax philosophical about this, but to my point, you get a lot of enjoyment with no effort. But if you can get a decent amount of enjoyment with a decent amount of effort, that's the pocket. So then the question is, how could that relate to our relationship with food? Well, I got an idea. This is the middle ground, right here. I'm gonna make some mid-level food with some mid-level effort in a top-tier location. Really, the only thing I'm trying to be mindful of is I don't want to be that idiot talking to a camera. So I'm gonna get as deep into the woods as I realistically can with the time that I have. And then I got a couple heat in bag field meals I'm gonna take a look at and give a review to. I'd like to do this with MREs, various heat in bag meals that you cook out here. I'd like to change the relationship to lunchtime. Like I said, really good food is super accessible. Really bad food, also super accessible. But anyone can get MREs. Anyone can get heat and bag, field meals. Pause for a second because it looks like this trail is closed. Let's take a look. All right, that's the trail I wanted to take. No bother. There's one over here. Let's saddle up for the saddle trail. Now, nobody said MREs are any good. Ask around. Everyone likes the chili mac. But it's not like we're doing fine dining here. But I work in TV, and I need to spend more time outside. Because this is where I feel comfortable, not in an office, not in a studio. As far as where to set up camp goes, I've found that when you know, you know. I like a flat area. I can overlook the trail. Usually have a nice tree I can set up against. Sometimes it takes a while to find, sometimes it's right there, right in front of you. But if that's where you're spending your time, might as well make sure you pick out a good one. It was really buggy at the base of the mountain. You know, it's middle of May, so got a whole new generation of bugs. I've noticed the higher I go, the less that's a problem. Which might mean that camp is right close by. I know there's different kinds, and I don't know if there's kinds you're supposed to avoid. I'm gonna grab these, I'm gonna pack them up. And I'll look it up when we get home, but there's some fiddleheads. You fry those up with some butter, those are pretty good. I'm gonna prune these a little bit, so I only take home what I'm looking to take home. I'll have to look up. I don't know that I've ever seen them with that. I've also never foraged them myself, so I'll have to look up what exactly I got here before I eat it. And this isn't something that I'm going to be doing on this show, you know, eating and foraging. Not necessarily. Like, I am going to be eating these field meals, but I don't know enough about foraging to feel comfortable, at least not yet, eating what I find in the wild. So here's what we got on the menu today. I don't have MREs today. Just wanted to start this series off with something easier. Maybe not easier, but something a little more pizzazz. Today we are starting with Hashbrown potatoes with bacon, peppers, and onions. Look at that. Remember when I said how accessible this stuff was? I got this at Sierra Trading Post. That's like a TJ Maxx, basically. I think it's owned by the Maxx company. And this is one of the cool ones. A lot of them, you gotta boil your own water. Not a problem. But this, you just add any water. I've used snow in the past. And self-heating. So it's 260 calories. It's a lot of sodium. 42% your daily intake. 11 grams of protein. I mean, I got this thing for $7. All you do, you open the bag, you insert the food pouch, add 3 to 5 ounces of any type of water. Like I said, I've used snow before and that works just fine. You open the heating pad, place it next to the bag, seal it, let it steam for 5 minutes, and hopefully the steam will get rid of some of these dang bugs. Comes with silverware that includes salt and pepper. That's a nice touch, and a little napkin. This is our heating pad, and this is the food. Do not open food pouch prior to heating. Piece of cake. Back in you go. Add 3 to 5 ounces of any type of water first before you add the heating pack. Brought my water with me. Represent Steel. Steel, if you want to send me some free stuff, your shirts fit pretty good. So I've got about 10 ounces in here, so I'm going to use half. Next, you open the heating pad, and what you got to do with this, I'm making a little bit of a mess, but I'll pick it up, pack out what you pack in. You got to put this thing in there and seal it up pretty quick, and you'll see why. So in it goes with the food and the water. Seal it up. We'll put it down, we'll see what happens. So the way this usually goes is, the first minute you're like, oh, this isn't working. Then your bag starts to puff up. You see this? Check this out. I'll switch the angle here for you. It's cooking your meal for you. You see that steam? Look at that. You give that 3 to 5 minutes. It'll be nice and toasty for you. Every bug within a mile is interested in what we're doing, but what you can do, poke it a little bit, get some of that steam out, maybe that'll get those little buggers away. While we wait, I'll introduce you guys to what we're gonna have for dessert today. I'm talking gourmet, baby. We got hash brown potatoes with bacon, peppers, and onions, and for dessert, s'mores cookie. Now it's exactly the same process, and we can actually have them cooking at the same time because this will cool while we're eating the hash browns. So this actually has more stuff than the first one. So let's see, s'mores cookie. Oh, it looks like there's 2 servings. That's cool. We'll cook this one. Process is the same. This goes in the bag. I just said Steel should sponsor me, and then I lost their cup. No worries, I brought extra. Steel, I need a new tumbler. Throw this in. Take up less space when you recycle like that. Open up the heating bag. And she goes. It'll be a minute before anything happens, but I'm going to keep this shot going so you can watch this bag puff up and start steaming. I can already feel it warming up on my leg. I might have to move it. The steam that you're seeing come across the screen right now is from the hash browns. So that just means it's cooking. Okay, you hear that? Now that's wild. It doesn't get any easier than that, and golly does that get hot. That just burnt my hand. But if you're out here, you got nothing to eat, but you got a couple bags of these and you can find some water. It doesn't even have to be clean water. Like, you can get lake water and put it in because your food is in a package. It doesn't even have to be potable water. In the meantime, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Give myself a treat. Dude, just a general recommendation. I love these Premier Protein coffee drinks. It's 30 grams of protein, 160 calories, which is an awesome ratio. And it's got the caffeine content of a cup of coffee. And it's got a bunch of, not a whole lot, but like 25% your daily value of vitamin A, E. Let's see what else we got. Zinc, like a bunch of good stuff. I drink like 3 or 4 of these a day instead of coffee. And that satisfies not only my caffeine desires, but also if I drink 3 of these, that's 90 grams of protein in a day. I'm 230 pounds, so I'm aiming for about 170 grams of protein a day. S'mores just fell. But that's halfway there just off of caffeine alone. What I would normally otherwise drink is coffee. I got these at a discount at Target, and I can tell why. They're kind of congealed on the inside. But if you buy them new, dude, these are a game changer. All right, our 3 to 5 minute cook window has passed. I'm gonna walk a little bit away from camp for this next part, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump the water out. I don't want scalding water where I'm sitting. Again, I am no foraging expert, and I don't think that this is, edible, but it looks a bit, though I don't think it is, looks a bit like lion's mane mushrooms. I'm pretty sure it's not because it's not stringy, but lion's mane is a good nootropic mushroom. It's supposed to help with memory, focus, brain elasticity, and you can get that kind of thing if you forage and you know what you're looking for. Just off a tree by the lake. That's pretty cool. So there's probably still going to be quite a bit of steam in here, so I'm going to be careful opening it up. In fact, I think one hand is not the way to do it. Yeah, that's really hot. I would imagine there's going to be a bit of a steam buildup right there. It's quite hot. And then carefully just pour out the water. Any moisture on that heating pad is going to have it continue to do its job. You know what, honestly, we could do? I could just drop it all out right here. Big plop. Now, heating pad gone. I'll make sure to come back for that. You don't just leave that type of thing out here. food bags ready, so I'll bring this back to camp, come back and grab the heating pad, and we'll be good to go. We don't want to overcook our cookies. We'll do the same here. Mindful of the steam. Pour it out. We'll come back for that after. It's a really nice touch that the hash browns came with silverware or plasticware. I was gonna use just a stick, but obviously this is better. These are usually really salty meals, so I don't know that the salt will be necessary, but probably find some use for the pepper. This bag's gonna still be pretty hot. Oh yeah, look at that. Now, if you're expecting gourmet, my friend, you are sadly mistaken. But if you're expecting warm food out in the woods, I mean, today's a pretty humid day, pretty buggy. But if you were having a cold night, man, this would be a godsend. All right, like I said, 260 calories. It's not much if you're looking for, fuel to get through the day, especially if you're hiking throughout the day. You need to eat 10 of these just to hit your maintenance calories. But if you don't mind being in a deficit, oh man, this does smell really good though. It's hit or miss, finding if it's too hot. Sometimes it doesn't cook well at all, sometimes it absolutely burns your mouth. Dude, you can't realistically expect better than this. And I say that meaning, this is great. If you were like, when I camp, I bring potatoes and I bring a skillet. Yeah, obviously, it's not going to be the same. But this is tasty. Like, they made sure that everything that you miss in any other aspect, it's made up for in taste. This is good. If this was in a tortilla at a gas station, you'd get it. Oh yeah, you would. Earlier I was talking about how everyone likes the Chili Mac MREs. I would call this another go-to. If I was packing for a hike, or if I was making my bug out bag, this gets some priority. There's bacon in it. Seems kind of like bacon bits, but that's fine. Somewhere between bacon bits and real bacon. It's not as bad as like dog food, but it's not as good as real bacon. But again, I gotta say, the flavor is awesome. It's really attracting the mosquitoes. But honestly, that could just be the heat, because I was attracting them just fine without this. It doesn't need the salt that it comes with. And it's got a little bit of a kick in itself, so it doesn't really need the pepper, but I'm gonna add both of them just to see what that brings to the table. I would imagine the salt's gonna be too much. Pepper, always welcome on any food. Not blowing the heat away, blowing the mosquitoes away. Okay, on the second half, I ate the first half as it was. Second half, added the salt and pepper. That's nice. Changes things up a bit. Not too much, but enough to keep it exciting. Though it is already pretty exciting. But if the whole thing was that salty, that'd be too much. Let's go check in on how our dessert's doing. Back over here, minding its own business on the ground. We got our s'mores cookies. 250 calories, ironically the same amount, just about, as the meal. 29% saturated fat, 40% sugar. See, here's the thing, I don't know too much about macros and nutritional facts. But I am looking at the ones that are like a high percentage. And if you know what you're talking about, you can probably draw your own conclusions from that. Oh yeah, dude, look at that thing. Look at that. It's broken up, obviously, as that would happen, and there's that. So hopefully it's not too dry, but like it looks fairly moist. Doesn't smell like anything, but that's fine. I don't really have much of a sense of a smell, so maybe it could. I'm just missing it, but let's see. All right. If you're camping, you could bring cookies. But if this is in your bug out bag, grocery stores are no longer an option. I can imagine sitting out here eating a warm cookie. Just being on cloud nine, dude. I would say this is on par with if you decided to heat up like a, how's that, Chips Ahoy? It's not nearly as dry as the Omeals brownie that I've had before. That's the one I used snow instead of water for. Yeah, this is really good. I think if they added a little bit of salt, I could have a home run here. If you're out camping with your kids, this is what started my my love for this brand in particular. Taking your kid out under the guise of, let's go make dessert in the woods. It's a good way to get kids outside. And this is good enough for a kid, for sure. Would I buy this again? Maybe. Would I buy the hash browns again? 100%. From here, our job is to pick up everything that we brought out. Pack out what you pack in. That means don't be a jerk. If you brought something from the civilized world out into the woods with you, take it back to the civilized world with you. You know, it's wild. This used to be life, like obviously not these, but it's wild that you have to seek out moments in the woods. And for hundreds of thousands of years, that's what we were doing. And for all time, that's what every other species is doing. Which circles back to my original point. The distance it takes to get something good and the amount of good that that thing is, it's important to make sure that those line up together. You know, I'm gonna go back to my car. I'm gonna have the radio. If I want it, I'm gonna have air conditioning, though I usually just roll the windows down. Then I'm gonna go to my cushy TV studio office. And then when I'm done that, I'm gonna go home. And it's like, this is still here, you know? I remember a moment, again, not to get preachy, but I I remember a moment where I was laying in bed and the ceiling fan was going and it was hot. And the ceiling fan was blowing air down on me. And I thought, this is the height of luxury. How much more could you possibly expect out of life? You have ceiling fans, dude. You nailed it. You won. You won the game. So when you start raising the stakes past that, I think that distance causes a little bit of cognitive dissonance. It makes people unhappy. I'm not immune to it. You are not immune to it. Happens to all of us. Maybe you don't realize how good things are because you keep raising the bar every time you take one step up the ladder. But if you look back to where you came from, you, humans, whatever scale you want to look at, then you take a look around you, that's pretty cool. Moments like this help remind me of that. So, in summary, the Omeals Hashbrowns, fire, dude. Absolutely recommend. If you're camping, if you're doing exposure therapy with your children, if you need food for your bug out bag, absolutely recommend. The cookies, mid-level recommend. I absolutely think you can find enjoyment out of that. They do not taste bad. They're high calorie, which is good, especially if you're out all day. They're just not amazing, but they wouldn't be. The benefit to that would be probably to put in your bug out bag or for exposure therapy with your children. If you yourself are just going camping and you've got a sweet tooth, yeah, spend the $7 on something better maybe. It doesn't take away though how good the hash browns were. And again, if you want to supplement that with some Premier Protein coffee, golly is that stuff good. And if you want to heat your meals with water from a tumbler from the fitness supplement company Steel, then let them know that you found it out from me, so maybe they give me some free stuff. Alright, thanks for coming along with me, guys. Adios.